Hello and welcome to News Central Television. I am Lekan on Onabanjo. The top stories at this hour. Alleged attempts to cut away sensitive materials from Rivers State Electoral Commission's headquarters ahead of local government elections thwarted. ECOWAS moves to step up force to check the tide of terrorism in the region. Journalists and opposition candidates released from custody in Senegal. Details to come your way shortly. Begin with updates on the political situation in Rivers State, where Governor Siminalayi Fubara has foiled an alleged attempt by a police team to take over the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission (RSIEC) during the wee hours of Friday. The policemen, who were said to have been led by a Deputy Commissioner of Police Operations, attempted to scale through the gate to cut away sensitive electoral materials meant for the conduct of Saturday's local government election from RSIEC's strong room. However, vigilant security officials alerted principal officers of the commission and relevant government authorities, who immediately informed Governor Siminalayi Fubara of the development. Governor Fubara, who mustered a team of government officials, lawmakers from the State and National Assembly, top political stakeholders and other leaders to foil the attempt, addressed newsmen afterwards.
I have to say this on a very strong note. We've been taking enough nonsense from this institution. Everybody is aware of the court judgment, and even the judgment as they call it, the ruling. Did the ruling specify anywhere that the election should not hold? He said, don't give voters register. What are we doing with it? Okay, police, don't provide security. Don't provide security. Is this the same thing as blocking the election? I don't know what the relationship between Inspector General of Police and one person who claims he has so much power in this state. I don't know the relationship, because it's beginning to go beyond the normal professional relationship. I said the government wrote a letter with the judgment that we have to him, and what he's acting on is what he called the federal government, the judgment he got from the Federal High Court. Even at that, if we should go by that, the judgment in the Federal High Court, did he say election should be bad? Lifu, that justice that gave that fraudulent judgment, did he say no election? Rather, it technically said, don't provide. We don't need your security. We will provide our own security. After all, it happened in Anambra. Go away with your security. But this election must hold. If you like whatever it is you want to do, do it. The election will hold, the result will be declared. People will be sworn in. Yes. I say it here. What kind of a country is it? And when it comes to the issue of Rivers State, it becomes different. You're not ashamed of yourself. You call yourself Inspector General of Police.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. I will be here. In fact, if I go back and I hear anybody, I will come here. This is my property. And you don't have any power whatsoever to bar me from entering it. Yes. Just try it. That part of your history as a very wicked and fraudulent Inspector General of Police will include shooting Fubara. Yes. I think I've given you enough respect. Well, let me say it to all Rivers indigents. Everyone residing in Rivers State, election will hold. Yes. Yes. Election will hold. Yes. Anything that wants to happen, let it happen.
In the meantime, it is the eve of the Rivers State local government election, and so far, drama and intrigues have not been in short supply, just like the one you just watched. Now, in the latest developments, or coming out of the state after the alleged attempt by the officers led by a Deputy Commissioner of Police attempted to take away electoral materials from the headquarters of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, some pro-Fubara supporters have gathered in their numbers at the RSIEC office.
The election will hold so that the local government will become autonomous, so that the workers will be benefiting, and they also get more employment from the local government. Because no one here in Rivers State is general language. It's no one language.
Wike has nothing to tell the youth in Rivers State. Election must show. It is him that we listen to. Election must so. I'm the street commander. Election must so. That's what I said. Nothing will happen. Wike has nothing to tell us. Election must so. I'm from Calabare, so election must so.
When I tell Wike making day in day, River State in our state, I will know use flag grow for this state. In the rule, go Abuja, may remain for that place, so that may see him, they see us, they hear, so that everybody could do our thing.
Meanwhile, the Rivers State Police Command has confirmed it will fully comply with the Federal High Court's judgment barring its involvement in the October 5 local government elections. This announcement came just 24 hours after key members of the People's Democratic Party, led by State Chairman Aaron Chukwuemeka, staged a protest against the election being conducted by the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission. Protesters marched to the headquarters of the Department of State Services and the State Police Command in Port Harcourt, urging both agencies to respect the court's ruling and withdraw from participating in the poll. While the police assured adherence to the court order, they emphasized that it would not prevent them from addressing any potential security concerns during the election. Joining us to discuss the political impasse in Rivers State is a public affairs analyst, Goswell Jumbo. Mr. Jumbo, thank you so much for joining us.
It's always my pleasure being here with you.
So as regards the latest developments in Rivers State, what is your take or your reaction to the statement of by the governor, Siminalayi Fubara, as regards the alleged complicity on the part of the IGP and the Federal High Court judge, and what the citizens are equally saying?
I think for me and other people, whether indigent or resident in Rivers State, I think it's about disappointment, big time disappointment. The police waited for everybody to go to sleep. When everybody has gone to bed, about midnight, precisely 10:44 p.m., that's when the police issued a press statement, saying they will not be part of the election and that the legal department of the Nigeria Police Force has advised the Rivers State Command to stay away from the election, and citing court judgments and all of that. But, as much as we are disappointed, as much as maybe in a way, are we actually expecting so much from the Nigeria police? Over time, has the Nigeria police acquitted itself well in such a way that it will earn the respect of Nigerians? Action after action, incident after incident. Look at the governor, the same governor, on the 30th of October last year, they were firing water canisters at him. And some people said they were even using live ammunition, whatever. Now, the same governor, you are going to illegally, in a hoodlum way, in a rogue manner, access a facility that is under his care without authorization in the middle of the night. What kind of conduct is that for a state institution, for an institution that is funded by taxpayers' money? What kind of, conduct is that? Let me also draw the attention of the Inspector General of Police. I'm happy he's a PhD holder. It makes me happy because I think he can connect to what I want to say. The police is bound constitutionally to provide security of lives and property for Nigerians across the 36 states, across the 774 local governments of Nigeria. Court order or no court order, the Constitution is the ground norm, is the overarching law over every other law, over every other court order. So if the police says for this election they are not going to provide security for the people of Rivers State, let Kayode Egbotokun be put on notice that that is a constitutional violation, and he can be charged for it, because violating the Constitution is a higher crime than any other crime. Let him be put on notice. But for us, for Rivers people, we, the media community, professionals, the organized private sector, the fishermen, the whoever, students, youth, everybody. I think everybody is upbeat about tomorrow.
Okay, well, of course, we see that also resonates with the people of the state saying that they want the election to hold. But then PDP representatives have come out to say that, you see, RSIEC should not be the one to conduct this election. And I'm wondering if that is born out of an unfounded fear, or probably they feel that RSIEC has been compromised.
But first of all, isn't that neither here nor there? You don't want to attend a party, and you still want to determine how that party runs. You want to determine who dances, which music is played, which DJ performs, and all of that. Where does that happen? The PDP has pulled out of the election, even when it is his own person, the governor of the state, that is superintending over the election. Imagine that. You pull out, you say you're not interested, you're not contesting, and then you still want to determine how the election goes. First of all, who told you that it is not RSIEC that will conduct the election? The law in place, the extant law, you know, the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission Act of 2018 mandates the commission to conduct elections in Rivers State. And that commission is bound by law to conduct the election in such a way that everybody is carried along. Remember also that law bars every court, that no court proceedings can stop an election in Rivers State, that same law. So the PDP should just relax. It is not contesting. Why is he bothering himself? Why is he bothering himself?
Okay,
I mean,
so
they should just keep calm and just watch events play out.
All right,
For me, I don't want to attend the party. What's my business with what happens at the party?
All right, so as regards how the election will play out in the states, voter apathy, public confidence when it comes to this election, how do you think it will play out with a police force saying that it will adhere to court rulings, but then if there's a security threat, it will still intervene? How are we so sure that, you know, there won't be any sort of violence being perpetrated by an arm or a security apparatus that's meant to actually protect the people during a democratic process?
We won't be looking too far off. You know, when I appeared on your program days ago, I thought I flagged the issue of political rhetoric. When somebody who is a leader, who is followed, who is respected, who is, a lot of people see him as a role model, comes to the public and is, using political rhetoric to invoke, to incite, to, stir violence, what do we expect? The witch, if the witch cries in the night and the baby dies in the morning, we don't have to look too far. We will go looking for the witch. It's simple. Among all the political actors, who has been calling for violence? Who has been, engaging in acts and speeches that stir violence? Somebody was saying some days ago that nobody has the monopoly of violence. Who is talking about violence? The governor has not talked about violence. The candidates have not talked about violence. The political parties have not talked about violence. It is only him that is talking about violence. Where is the violence coming from? The Rivers people want to go to the polls and just elect who they want. They want to activate the grassroots system. This has been the cry, the yearning of the people of Nigeria across all these 773 local governments. Now, thank God, among all his failings, the Buhari administration added to the current administration, aside all their failings, they've been able to entrench this legally, even having the apex court in the land, the Supreme Court, to entrench it legally. That henceforth, not only will the grassroots be run by the local governments, they will be funded directly from the federation account. Now, a part of that is that it can only happen through an elected government. The people can't wait to have elected governments in the grassroots. This governor wants to make that happen. So why will anybody want to work against that?
All right,
And I can assure
Jumbo,
you,
thank you
and
very
you
much.
can
We may
advise me
not be
that there
able
will be no
to.
violence across the 23 local governments.
Godswill, I understand. Thank you so much for your contribution. We can't go beyond this at this particular time, but then we appreciate your contribution. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. It's always an honor being with you.
Of course. We're still talking elections on the news. We go on a very short break. When we return, we'll take you to Plateau State, looking at the Plateau Council elections, where political parties have signed the peace treaty ahead of October 9 polls. We'll be back to talk more about this. Talking local government matters and politics. Now, all 11 political parties participating in the October 9, 2024 local government elections in Plateau State have signed a peace accord for the success of the exercise. This accord signifies a bond and commitment by these parties and their aspirants to ensure the efforts put in place by government and other stakeholders in carrying out peaceful and credible polls in the state is not jeopardized. News Central's Onabanjo was there and now tells us more.
I want to yarn. Make you yarn. I want to talk. Make you talk.
That was a dance presentation by children representing the different ethnic and religious groups in the state. Their mission was to speak to the hearts of these stakeholders in this exercise to ensure peaceful and credible elections for Plateau State. Governor Caleb Mutfwang, represented by his deputy, challenged the contesting parties to a peaceful outing to consolidate on the progress of the state.
This peace accord demonstrates our dedication to resolving our disputes through peaceful means, upholding democratic principles, and ensuring a fair and transparent electoral process.
The signing of the peace accord was organized by the Plateau State Peace Building Agency in collaboration with the Plateau State Independent Electoral Commission.
Our presence here today reaffirms our commitment to upholding democratic values and preventing any outbreak of violence before, during, or after the election scheduled.
The procedure in election is very important in peace building. If you do not follow procedures and you are doing things not transparently, those are some of the signs that could lead to conflict.
For these stakeholders, Plateau will be a more peaceful state if contestants and their supporters maintain decorum before, during, and after the polls.
Peace is the panacea for meaningful development, and therefore I stand here to charge the players, the politicians, and those who are engaged in bringing the whole thing together that please play according to rules.
My request specially is that in honor of the young girls and boys that came out here to sing and dance, we need to deliver peaceful elections.
When you begin to mainstream peace building in elections and you are conflict sensitive about the elections, definitely we are working hard towards preventing any violence that may occur.
Appending their signatures here holds these political parties to their words to remain true to their commitment in ensuring the rules of the game are upheld. In Jos for News Central, Chizoba Aniui.
From the north central to northwest, the Borno State government has officially declared a cholera outbreak following a surge in suspected cholera cases, majorly caused by the recent flood that devastated parts of the state. As of the latest reports, there are 451 suspected cases, with 128 confirmed positive through rapid diagnostic tests and 17 cases confirmed through culture testing. Health officials are urging residents to prioritize hygiene and seek medical attention if they experience symptoms.
I am officially declaring a cholera outbreak in Borno State. Following the reports of sporadic cases of watery diarrhea and positive rapid diagnosis tests, as well as positive culture results from the National Reference Laboratory, we are now facing a significant public health challenge that demands urgent attention and action. So far, we have not witnessed any death or mortality in Borno State as a result of cholera. The state is still expecting more supplies of the cholera vaccines from the Federal Ministry of Health. However, we are recording increasing number of acute watery diarrhea, which is suspicious of cholera, which is not unconnected with the flood devastation. However, you have to bear in mind our neighbors, Adamawa State has also declared cholera outbreak recently, in fact, with a lot of fatalities. We've also seen situations similar to this.
In the meantime, the Yoruba community in Borno State has called for urgent support for its 4,600 members who were affected by the recent flooding that submerged 70% of Maiduguri and its environs. Their president, Saka Abiodun, while speaking with newsmen in Maiduguri, said most affected are artisans struggling for survival. Abiodun lamented that the flood disasters have destroyed homes and infrastructure, displacing hundreds of families. Their sources of livelihood and property were also affected, causing a lack of access to basic necessities like shelter, food, clean water, and healthcare. He solicited individuals, corporate organizations, and government agencies to come to their aid. The community president, however, commended the state government for its prompt response to provide succor to the flood victims. To security matters now, lawmakers at the Kaduna State House of Assembly have been tasked to utilize the skills and expertise of women in the state in its peace-building processes, saying these will provide and produce more enduring results. This was during a retreat for lawmakers in the state, which was held in Abuja to help localize, implement, and oversee the state's peace and security agenda. Amadine Uyi reports.
Women in Nigeria form almost 50% of the nation's population. This makes women critical partners in nation building, as their skills and expertise cannot be overlooked.
Women form a very critical aspect and segment of our society. In Nigeria, they occupy over 49% of our population, meaning everything that impacts on peace building and conflict have direct impact on them. And their participation, their inclusion is very critical in any discussion that we bring about sustainable development, sustainable peace.
While many believe that the ability of women to foster peace in troubled communities has not been utilized, some say this is necessary, as they also bear the brunt of conflicts when they occur. At this retreat for lawmakers from the Kaduna State House of Assembly, organized by the Clean Foundation, peace-building experts deliberate on inclusion of women in peace-building processes, saying this will make the process more enduring.
Every sustainable peace-building effort that have women participate have remained enduring, and we believe in Kaduna State is not going to be different.
We should begin to see women as actors that can contribute to peace and security. Why? Because they have the potentials. We often underutilize the potentials of women, and that's why we are unable to have sustainable peace.
They express confidence that the training session for lawmakers from the Kaduna State House of Assembly will equip them effectively and make them more open to pushing gender-responsive policies and laws.
We expect to see the lawmakers, the legislators in the Kaduna State House of Assembly fully equipped with knowledge, skills, and capacity to promote the women peace and security agenda. We want to see them becoming he-for-she champions. They only have one female in the State House of Assembly, but we can make the men to become gender champions. And what we mean is that they can fight for the rights of women and ensure that women are carried along when it comes to good governance, when it comes to peace and security, among other responsibility bestowed on them.
That we get commitment from the parliamentarians to ensure that they appropriate, they deliberate, and they oversight the state action plan on WPS. And at the end of the day, they can categorically make legislation for the independence of the Kaduna Multi-Dog courthouses.
Experts here at the retreat say the training received will help the state lawmakers localize, implement, and oversight the state's peace and security agenda. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadin Uji.
The Arawa Consultative Forum socio-cultural group in Nigeria has expressed deep concern over the escalating insecurity in northern Nigeria, which is severely affecting farming and livelihoods. Following a sympathy visit to Borno State, the Arawa Consultative Forum called on the federal government to take immediate and decisive action to address the alarming rates of violence, kidnapping and banditry in the region. News Central's Umaru Karawa reports that the forum, while donating 20 million naira to aid recovery of victims, called for enhanced support for the flood victims who have suffered significant losses. And away from that, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS heads of state and government are set to establish a 5,000-strong kinetic force to combat terrorism in the region. This decision follows the alarming disclosure that 1,605 terror attacks were recorded across West Africa between January and August 2024, resulting in 6,956 deaths. ECOWAS Commission President Omar Toure shared these figures during an international lecture organized by the news agency of Nigeria in Abuja on Thursday. Toure, represented by Isaac Armstrong, Program Officer for Regional Security, broke down these statistics, saying that Burkina Faso accounted for 611 attacks and 3,810 fatalities. Mali saw 546 attacks with 1,424 deaths. Nigeria experienced 238 attacks with 905 fatalities. The Niger Republic reported 153 attacks and 676 deaths. Benin Republic recorded 44 attacks with 66 fatalities, while Togo saw 13 attacks with 75 deaths. Toure emphasized that while the regional initiative is critical, it does not absolve individual member states of the responsibility to ensure national security. Nigeria's federal government has been tasked to revisit current policies in the transportation sector. This was as experts converged on Abuja for the 2024 Association of Transport and Aviation Correspondents Seminar, which was held in the nation's capital. They say governments must invest in the transportation sector in order to open up the economy and address challenges being faced with obsolete policies.
I think it's time for us to revisit our transportation policy in this country. What we have is obsolete, and if you see what we go through within even the FCT, you begin to wonder if our planners actually think of projecting into the future.
In harnessing the aviation, railway, marine, and blue economy sectors for sustainable transportation in Nigeria, land transportation and the railway subsectors should be guarded. It should be guarded. It should be protected. We shouldn't be neglecting it. We shouldn't be looking at those other ones, land transportation and so on. CNNG buses have been there. They have been painted. You left them to wait for independence. What for?
I think this is a very good time for the Transport Ministry and Ataka to come together and look at some of the transport issues. So it's very germane, I think, for us to look inward and look at some of the areas we can address these challenges so that we can better.
Is also undertaking a project of coming up with a revised national road transport policy. This policy has become necessary in view of the fact that the former Federal Ministry of Transportation is divided into two ministries now, Ministry of Transportation and Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy. So a need has arisen to come up with a revised policy that will regulate both the marine and blue economy.
In another development, Nigeria's federal government has tasked teachers nationwide to embrace technology and digital transformation. The permanent secretary of the ministry, while speaking to newsmen ahead of the World Teachers' Day, assured teachers in the country of the federal government's commitment to supporting them in their profession and urged them to adopt contemporary teaching methods.
Government holds the teaching profession in very high esteem, having established more specialized universities of education and implemented the policy of bursary in Nigeria universities for students studying education. I therefore urge teachers to look beyond current circumstances at home, respond to the challenges of adopting contemporary teaching, conducting researches, and embracing technology and digital transformation.
Now, the Google Nigeria Economic Impact Report is an independent study by Public First that underscores the transformative impact of digital technologies on Nigeria's economy. The report reveals that digital technologies are generating substantial economic growth in Nigeria. News Central's correspondent Bettina Nweli tells us more.
The Digital Opportunity of Nigeria report outlines how Google's products and infrastructure are driving digital transformation and contributing to economic growth across the country. With Nigeria experiencing rapid digital development, the report highlights the potential for further growth.
What we will say, though, is that when you think about the opportunity that AI offers, our report tells us that an estimated $15 billion is what AI could, add to the Nigerian economy. And we know that we're largely youth and young population. So it's really thinking about how AI could be a tool to help drive things like productivity, how AI could be a tool that helps drive things like creativity, how our AI APIs essentially could be the platform that developers ride on to build products and services that essentially solves problems within their local communities.
According to the study, every $1 invested in digital technology in Nigeria generates over $8 in economic value. This emphasizes the critical role of digital technology, including connectivity, cloud computing, and artificial intelligence, in shaping Nigeria's economic future.
We need to make the AI conversation more relatable. People need to see that AI is not something that we can detach or that we should detach from. AI can actually be used to solve some of our biggest problems, whether it's in healthcare, agriculture, and education.
Recall that before, people were limited to a local market, but now they have that wide reach, and it's helping them export both their products and the culture. So now we find that Nigerian culture is internationally relevant. We see that with things like music, we see that with things like fashion. It's because if people searched for these businesses or these creators, they would find them on search.
In 2023, Google's products and services contributed an estimated $1.8 billion in economic activity across Nigeria. This has significantly boosted the productivity of Nigerian businesses, creators, and workers.
Pro-competitive policies are critical. Policies that essentially help young people build and businesses build, I think on top of this technology is key. I think the government can also play a very critical role in investments.
AI has immense potential to transform various sectors in Nigeria. With over 1.5 million young adults learning new digital skills in 2023 alone, according to Google, AI could increase Nigeria's economy by an additional $15 billion by 2030. With the huge potential that lies in this sector, the onus is now on those at the helm of power to capitalize on these untapped opportunities for the benefit of the country. In Lagos, for News Central, I am Bettina Nweli.
Coming up on the news, Senegalese journalists and opposition candidates released from custody after criticizing Prime Minister. We will tell you more when we return from this break. Once again. We continue with the news by telling you that 2 journalists and an opposition candidate in Senegal were released from custody on Thursday after being summoned over remarks critical of the Prime Minister and the police, according to their lawyers. Journalist Sheikh Yerim Sek and Bogane Gwege Dani are candidates in the upcoming parliamentary elections, had been questioned for challenging financial figures presented by Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko. Last week, Sonko described Senegal's economic situation as catastrophic, accusing the previous administration of manipulating financial data. The government, which has been in office since April, is facing mounting criticism from the opposition and rights groups over a series of convictions, detentions, and police summons targeting political figures and journalists. To Southern Africa, we tell you that e-hailing drivers in Johannesburg are protesting this morning as they started following a tragic incident that has drawn attention to the rising violence they face while working. A heartbreaking video circulating on social media shows an e-hailing driver being brutally shot and killed by 2 men posing as customers. This shocking act of violence reminds of the dangers that many drivers encounter each day as they provide a virtual transportation service. In response to the latest and horrific crime, e-hailing drivers are uniting to demand justice, security, and better protection measures. Outside Africa, we tell you that the Democratic White House candidate Kamala Harris hit the campaign trail on Thursday alongside Liz Cheney, a prominent Republican critic of Donald Trump. The pair appeared together in Wisconsin, a crucial swing state where Cheney, the daughter of former Vice President Dick Cheney, urged Americans to reject Trump and support his rival. Vice President Harris and the former Congresswoman addressed moderate Republicans and independents, calling for patriotism to take precedence over partisanship in the upcoming election. Cheney's message emphasized the need to stand against Trump's influence within the Republican Party.
I tell you, I have never voted for a Democrat, but this year I am proudly casting my vote for Vice President Kamala Harris. And in this country, under our Constitution, our president has a particular solemn obligation to ensure and guarantee the peaceful transfer of power. Since the beginning of the Republic, every president in our history has fulfilled that duty. Every president until Donald Trump.
We love our country, and that really is the binding factor in us all being together and taking the time to be together to really just renew and remind everyone of what is at stake, but born out of love that we have this fight. And I want to thank you, Liz Cheney, for reminding us that regardless of party affiliation, is a factor that binds us all. But Liz Cheney really is a leader who puts country above party and above self, a true patriot, and it is my profound honor to have your support.
And now for more on this, I'm joined by our chief international correspondent, Afia Hagen. Afia, it's a pleasure having you around. Now, it's under 4 weeks to go to the U.S. election, and Kamala Harris made a key campaign stop yesterday. What more can you tell us about this?
Absolutely. We saw Kamala Harris there with Liz Cheney in Wisconsin. And people will be wondering why this is so significant. It's significant for a few reasons. First of all, Liz Cheney is the daughter of former Republican Vice President Dick Cheney. Again, they're a family of lifelong Republicans. She is still a Republican. She's still a member of the Republican Party. But the real cornerstone of the reason why she has decided that she's endorsing Kamala Harris and will be voting for Kamala Harris in this election is because of what happened on January the 6th. It's about, to her, protecting the Republic and the transfer of power. And she talked about it there, how fundamental it is that democracy reigns during an election. And she feels that Donald Trump was the one president that didn't do that. And she said that it's all about Donald Trump being willing to sacrifice the Capitol and to allow law enforcement officers to be beaten and brutalized in his name. This is what she said, and to violate the law and the Constitution in order to seize power for himself. That, to her, is a red line, and that is why she is endorsing Kamala Harris for president and voting Democrat. Wisconsin is a key battleground state. The Electoral College, which is kind of the body which decides how many votes go to each person, the amount of votes that come through the Electoral College in Wisconsin is very big. So Wisconsin's a very significant place for them to kind of be together and launching this dual campaign.
So then how could Liz Cheney, looking at the campaign with Kamala Harris, impacts? Now I'm looking at the generality now of the elections in November, even with voters hoping to choose a preferred candidate.
Well, Liz Cheney, a Republican endorsing a Democrat, could swing voters who are in the middle, who are not sure which way, one or the other, who they're going to choose. It's the undecided that probably make up the greatest number and will have the greatest impact. And if you have someone like Liz Cheney, like I said, a lifelong Republican, deciding that she is going to vote Democrat, that could sway other voters to do the same thing. It's about getting the people in the middle. It's about getting the undecideds to vote for the Democrats. Now, Liz Cheney isn't the only Republican to do this. There have been other Republicans, namely her father, Dick Cheney, former Illinois Governor Adam Kinzinger, former Georgia Governor Jeff Duncan, and former Arizona Senator Jeff Flake. They have also decided that they will be endorsing the Democratic Party and endorsing the Democratic nominee. And you have, a party of Republicans for Harris. You have a section of people called that Republicans for Harris, but you don't have any Democrats for Trump. And so, like I said, this could be key in getting those undecided voters and to push them in the direction of voting for the Democratic Party rather than the Republicans and rather than for Trump.
Very interesting, I must say. So how has there been any reaction now from the Trump campaign to this endorsement?
Well, as Liz Cheney was speaking in Wisconsin with Kamala Harris yesterday, Trump bashed the former Congresswoman on Fox News and said, well, Liz Cheney lost for Congress. She was terrible. Liz Cheney is a stupid war hawk. All she wants to do is shoot missiles at people. I really think it hurts. I think, frankly, of Kamala, I think they hurt each other. I think they are so bad, both of them. That's a direct quote from Donald Trump, and this is what he said about Liz Cheney yesterday on Fox News.
Thank you so much. I feel here again, it's heating up in the United States, but then we'll keep our eyes on it with you on standby. Thank you so much. We talk business now. Manchester City has been charged with breaking financial fair play rules over a 9-year period, which started in 2009 and went on until 2018. They have also been charged with failing to cooperate with Premier League investigations into their finances. Earlier on Business Edge, Nklo Bile Ndlovu, Director Cash and Sports Research and Advisory, shared his view on this possibility in terms of sanctions being given to Manchester City.
There is a sort of, preferential treatment to Manchester City. I think that Manchester City have got very good lawyers and they've managed to get themselves out of this issue time and time again when it has come up. And they are taking the very best of the best lawyers to fight with, on this case at the moment. So I think that they're going to try their very best to get away with it. But I don't necessarily think that there's a preferential treatment for them specifically. I think there's been kind of a standard treatment of most clubs in the Premier League in terms of refereeing. But the very difficult issue is the fact that this this financial mispropriety was kind of hidden for a long time until it came out in the football leagues. And then UEFA tried to sanction Manchester City, but they got away with it on a technicality. And now the Premier League is trying to bring down the
In sports, the Nigeria National League Board presented an audited financial report to its Congress in Bauchi last week, marking the first time they have done so. This move has been praised by stakeholders and is seen as a significant step forward in the league's financial management. George Aluo, the chairman of the NNL board, emphasized the importance of transparency and openness by auditing the books and making the report available to Congress. A partner in the audit firm, Vincent Akimbami, who, aside from being a chartered accountant, worked with clubs like Ranchers Bees and Osun United in the past, says an 18-month audited account was prepared to have a stable accounting year that runs from July of a particular year to June of the following year. Akimbami also commended the NNL management for setting a positive example that others should follow. And that's all at this hour, but before we go, we'll look at our top stories again. Alleged attempt to cart away sensitive materials from Rivers State Electoral Commission's headquarters ahead of local government elections have been thwarted. ECOWAS has moved to set up force to check the tide of terrorism in the region. We also told you that journalists and opposition candidates have been released from custody in Senegal. Well, you can watch News Central live on DSTV, channel 422, Star Times, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekan Onabanjo.